Well,
Okay,
Kassi,
we can hit it.
yeah, let's do it. Well, welcome, welcome on the CEO Under 30 podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on. For those who don't know Kassi Malkin, she's a entrepreneur. I mean,
Yeah.
she's a real estate investor. She also sales real estate. You do what, like 30 to 40 transactions a year?
Yes. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
That's awesome. And has flipped multiple properties over the last year and a half.
Yep.
She really specializes in unique flips. So you're working on a property right now that's like a church or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually closed on it today, but it's a historic church in Longmont. Cool
Cool.
thing about it is it's the 100-year anniversary of the church this year.
Wow.
So we get to take it over on year 100 and turn it into a house. So yeah, we look for unique opportunities. You're not always going to get them, but we try to get houses with desirable features,
That's so cool.
resellable features.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's cool because it's just like obviously you can make a lot of money on it, but I'm sure those are really fun projects to work on. Like to be able to work on a church that's 100 years old, exactly 100 years old to the date is cool. It's a cool accomplishment.
Yeah, it's also scary, but it's cool.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta have a little bit of a tough mindset, a go with the flow mindset, because things are gonna happen in a 100-year-old
for
building.
sure. Um, so tell me, like, what was life like before getting into real estate? Did you play sports? Where'd you grow up? Yeah,
Yeah, I played softball in college. I'm not gonna talk about like growing up, I guess,
yeah,
more so. Just we can talk about college.
for sure.
I went to Metro State University here in Denver, got a softball scholarship. So prior to getting the scholarship, I was actively getting licensed at the time. So I was 18 years old. Here in Colorado, you have to be 18 to apply for your
Mm.
license. So I turned 18, I did it, and then got offered a scholarship to go to Metro State. I was like, can't turn that down. It's such a cool opportunity. So I went and did that for 3 years. I didn't finish out my softball term.
Mm.
I was playing softball during the 2020 craziness. So my freshman year, life was normal. That was 2018, 2019. Then
Mm.
2020 obviously came around the next year after, and COVID shut down everything. So my entire sophomore year was just done. There was no
Mm.
softball there. And then junior year came back around, and that's when, I don't know if you remember, but kind of like the testing and the masks. And
Yeah.
so we were kind of playing, but we weren't.
So, like, what did that look like? Were you playing with like masks on?
Yeah.
How do you social distance when you're playing on a sports team?
Yeah. Well, first off, softball's outdoors. So
Okay.
kind of crazy, but we'd have to wear masks outdoors while we
Mm.
were like conditioning and stuff, which was tough.
Mhm.
But I think as college athletes, you learn a lot of resilience. And in that moment, we had a lot of resilience. We were just doing things that were uncomfortable. Good learning lesson in college. We got tested every Monday. So every Monday you had to take a COVID test. And then by the following week, you would get your result. And depending, team would be quarantined or not, or whatever the results came back as. And then we also were split into small groups. So if we were doing weights, you had to be in groups of 4 girls to go to the weight room. So each weight rack had a girl.
Mm.
But in the past, the whole team would go to the weight room and everyone would kind of be crowded. But since you had to stay 6 feet apart, it was 1 girl per rack. So it was crazy. Like our schedules were interesting. We had to work around the testing, plus our school schedules, and then the mask thing. If you forgot your mask to practice, you couldn't practice. It
Jeez.
was a lot of craziness. And a lot of, I don't know, like obstacles, I guess, during that time. There was so much focus on COVID, it felt hard to focus on school and softball, and felt like you weren't really playing softball at that time. It was just kind of
Yeah.
like one week we're good, next week we're not. It was a crazy time.
Do you feel like you learned a lot about yourself in that time?
I don't know if I learned a lot about myself, but I learned a lot about life, I guess. Like the girls on my team, the way people handled the situation, a lot of intense discussion throughout like the team and people's different views on how things should be done, or if someone tested positive, the blame game, and like that was intense. It was a lot of like
Yeah.
mind games with the virus, the government, life. It was just a very intense time is how I would explain it.
Yeah. And I'm sure you learned a lot of like how to deal with stress. Because I
Mhm.
feel like when you flip houses or anything that's construction related, because I'm in the construction space,
Mhm.
I feel like you have to be able to deal with stress.
Totally.
So I'm sure that time frame kind of indirectly maybe helped you be able to deal with stress a little bit better, if I
Yeah,
had to
I would
guess.
say my whole experience with college sports, definitely.
Yeah.
I was an average Joe. I was not great in college. I was like the, "Hey guys, I'm gonna bring the best snacks to the field this weekend. I got it," kind of girl. So I was just an average Joe. I was more of a team player.
Yeah.
But the experience of playing college sports, I would encourage everyone to do if they have that opportunity, because you have to learn really intense discipline. Your time responsibility with scheduling and classes and sports is crazy.
Mhm.
You're also under really, really high standards with being on a softball team. I mean, I had an instance where my freshman year, we had like a little snack shop area, and my teammates and I went in to get a snack, but the guy at the counter was like kind of being an ass.
Mm.
Can I say that on the podcast?
Yeah.
He's kind of being an ass. And so we kind of gave him attitude back, and we are like, what the hell? And that got back to our coach. And so we were running the next day. So it's almost like in life, outside of softball, you also have to be very disciplined.
Yeah.
So I would say anyone who has the chance to do it, go do it, because you learn so much and you grow as a human. You have to learn so many rules and things about life that other people don't if you're just going to college. So I would recommend doing it. And I would say, yes, in construction, it's made me very focused, disciplined.
Yeah.
I also can go with the flow with things, like understand what should have my attention and what shouldn't. Solution orientated. I work that way in construction too, and that's how you have to be in college sports. You know, you can't worry about what coach said yesterday. You got to be like focused on the next thing. So yeah, I loved it. It came with a lot of growing pains, but a lot of really good lessons too.
Yeah. So looking back on it, you're 18, you apply for your real estate license. You don't ever wish you followed through with that and started your career sooner?
No, because college brought me so many new connections. I was in Denver. I met so many people that were also living in Denver. I actually worked full time my freshman year through my senior year. So I graduated college, just not softball. I didn't finish
Oh,
softball.
okay. What'd you
But
graduate with?
broadcast journalism degree. Heck
Okay.
yeah. Newscaster. Oh. I had a lot of connections. So I interned places. I had full-time jobs. So once I got out of college, I felt like I knew so many people that were kind of like vessels into the industry a little bit.
Mhm.
Also nannied, which was cool. So got to like meet some local Denver families, and
Yeah.
that was awesome. Having a community in college, outside of sports. So yeah, I would not have probably changed a thing. I loved it. And I loved also getting to live in the city. Like I was from Northern Colorado, which is really small.
Yeah.
So being in the city was really nice, just to open your mind a little bit, learn new things, figure out a new way of life, essentially. So I loved it. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah. And have any of those connections that you made in that college timeframe, like has that turned into direct business or
Mhm.
maybe indirect business?
Yeah. I would say the families I nannied, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they still keep in touch with me. They'll invite me to like family gatherings and stuff, which is so
Cool.
cute. But besides that, since it was COVID time period, a little tough. But yeah, the nanny side for sure. I would say though, outside of that, like I'd still say hi to my coach.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to coach like softball camps here and there for youth kids around here because of the hitting coach at Metro. So yeah, I mean, cool opportunities, maybe not necessarily for my business, but things that fill my cup and keep me going, like softball camps for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great, and I'm so glad I did it. I
Cool.
really can't imagine not doing it. I'm like, where would
Yeah.
I be without playing college sports?
Yeah.
And again, I was an average Joe, but I still loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So
No, it sounds like it's a really good experience and just creates discipline. Like when you're going to school and you're working and you're playing a sport
mhm,
at the same time, like one, you have to manage your time really well.
totally.
But then you just have to be disciplined. So that's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool you experienced that.
Did you play college sports?
I did not.
You
No,
didn't?
I wrestled in high school. And that was a really good experience for me because wrestling is tough, especially because you're competing with people on your team. Like most sports, you're
True.
typically like competing with people on other teams, and you do that as well in wrestling.
Yeah.
But like you have to really fight for your spot. When I started wrestling in 8th grade, then I like really got into it my freshman year. And my freshman year, my team won state,
Heck yeah.
which was cool, but it just meant like the caliber of kids on the team was really hard.
Yeah.
So I had to really fight for a spot to wrestle varsity. which meant cutting a lot of weight. Like I was naturally walking at about 160 pounds, maybe my junior year, and I wrestled 138 pounds.
Oof.
Yeah. So a lot of weight cutting just to be able to make the team. So um, definitely created a lot of discipline. I did not want to do it in college. Um,
What about the mental capacity to lose that much weight and still perform? That sounds crazy.
it's hard. Yeah. Especially because, like, in mixed martial arts or in boxing, like, you weigh in the day before. Wrestling, you weigh in the morning of. So, like, and it's kind of a gamble because they always start with a specific weight class. So like you may get lucky and weigh in at like 7 a.m. and then you're the last weight class that has to wrestle, or you may just like hit the bad lottery and end up having to wrestle like right after. So you have no time to like
Oh
eat
no.
a Subway sandwich or like rehydrate.
No.
And they didn't teach, I don't know if they've gotten better with this in wrestling now, but they didn't teach like how to actually lose weight like well. Like it was like, hey, go in a sauna and sweat for 2 hours or just do whatever you can to lose weight. But it wasn't like, hey, here's how you diet or
Mhm.
um like healthy ways to lose weight. So
Totally.
uh
Nowadays, you're like Ozempic. Just
yeah,
kidding. That
yeah.
would be so bad. These
Yeah.
like young high school kids are like,
15-year-olds on Ozempic. I
so what
wouldn't.
happens if you don't weigh in
Yeah, if
correctly?
you miss weight, either you just can't wrestle or
Mhm.
you have to wrestle up a weight class. So just kind of depended on like the tournament or the meet. Um, yeah, thankfully I think I maybe missed weight like one time in my whole wrestling
Were
career.
you like shaken?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cause your coach, my coach was very tough because like we were a state champion team.
Mhm.
So he'd make you still make weight. So while everybody else is wrestling, I mean, you're like running with the sweatsuit on.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Getting punished.
Yeah. Yeah. It was tough.
That's crazy. But what about too, like, this brings up a good point because you're saying you miss weight and you're terrified, right? Like
Yeah.
any kid would be. And what about the point of like, okay, did you hear about Metro State's volleyball team winning the national championship this year by chance?
No,
They're
tell
Division
me about
two,
it.
so it's not like headliner
Okay.
news, but
Yeah.
they won the national championship for Division two, which is awesome.
Cool.
And the coach's whole premise of how she teaches the girls is based off of identity, and it's so cool. So basically, the girls do not see themselves as volleyball players.
Mm.
They see themselves as like whatever their purpose is in life, whether it's like a daughter, a friend, maybe their career, they want to be something and that's what they like keep their mind focused on, but they will not say that they're like a volleyball player. And I think it's the coolest thing ever because the girls go out there and they play freely. They're like, "Oh, I mess up. It's just
Hmm.
volleyball. Like it's just a sport.
Yeah.
I'm here because I have really good talent and I'm lucky for that opportunity, but I'm just playing volleyball."
That's cool.
It's so sick. And so it obviously led them to this national championship because it was years in the making of like teaching the girls, like, we're not here to just play volleyball. You're here to one day have a great job or a family or to be a mother or whatever
Yeah.
that looks like. And so these girls literally say in their interviews, we play so freely because we know that a mistake does not define who we are.
That's awesome.
We're so much more outside of sports.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so sick. And I wish every coach would teach stuff like that because you do have to learn that outside
Yeah.
of sports. Like, who am I?
Yeah. Like sports aren't your identity. You know,
Mhm.
like I'm me. I'm not this softball
I'm
player,
not the
this wrestler.
stat or, oh, I didn't win
Yeah.
the state championship. I don't suck.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't win. I could do better.
Yeah. And I feel like when you take that pressure off yourself in anything
Mhm.
and just, find a way to do it because you love it, you perform a lot better.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're not worried about, oh, I made a mistake. Oh my gosh, coach is gonna pull me. You're like, it's all right, it happens.
Yeah.
Like, let's go on to the next. Bring
Yeah.
me the next ball. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a
Yeah.
confident way to play sports. I love it.
Yeah.
But anyways, I watched them win the championship this year. I heard the interviews and I was just like, that is so cool.
That's
And
cool.
I hope other coaches can learn from. I know it's Division two, so who knows who's hearing her.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope coaches take a piece of that, or even athletes. They're like, yeah. My junior year when I decided to quit, I had that same kind of realization, but no one had told me. It was just kind of an internal thing.
Mm.
Like, this is just softball. Like, I'm just throwing around a big yellow ball and I'm so consumed by it. Like, I stay up late at night, taking extra reps just to hopefully get a chance to play. And like, gosh, I'm so intertwined with this that like, what about my career? Like, there's nothing after this. What about
Yeah.
me and my future life? And so that's honestly why I decided to quit and, like, hang up the cleats. I was just like, I have so much more potential, and this isn't my purpose. This was just a really cool opportunity I got in the mix. And my real opportunity is gonna be after this. And so I was just I was excited, like, I'm too much as it is. Let me be too much in my career. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
the identity thing was just like, okay, what's my purpose?
Yeah. What do you mean by too much?
Anyone that knows me would probably describe me as like too loud, too talkative. I maybe say the wrong things at the wrong time. I am a lot. I have a jillion ideas at once and probably fuck up half of them because I'm just like, go, 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 go. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just a lot. And I think that's why I've been successful, honestly. But in past times when I needed discipline, it's been really hard because I'm too much. Like,
Mhm.
does that make sense? I'm like, I'm a go-getter. I don't know. And so to some people, it freaks them out. I have a
Yeah.
really hard time making friendships
Mm.
because some people are like, whoa, she's a lot. But then some people love me because they're like, hell yeah. If I want to be empowered and pushed and like be my ultimate self, I want Cassie as a friend, Like,
Yeah.
so I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But I also think it's like such a good asset for business to just be a little bit too much,
Yeah.
be a little bit crazy.
Yeah. I feel like you have to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people tell me they don't want to start a business because they feel like they don't know it all.
Hmm.
And you kind of just have to like just jump into it, just do it. Um, and I don't know, it sounds like you're like too much. Like you don't really think as much as other people would about things. You just kind of go for it and you're like, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And you have these really, really high goals that some people maybe like would have laughed at, but they aren't living your life, you
Yeah,
know?
or maybe some people would have done all the research on it and been like, "Nah, there's a little bit
Yeah.
of risk in that." I'm like, "No research, we're just gonna go gas
Yeah.
pedal."
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and we will find a solution at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just might be some bumps here and there,
Yeah.
but
It's all a
everyone's
part of the process.
totally. It's
Yeah.
like if you wanna be a high income earner, you're gonna have some struggles, trust me. I
For
don't care
sure.
what industry you're in, there's no easy way to make good money.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, right?
It's
Like,
true.
I could go work at Target. I've honestly thought about that. I'm like a nice 9 to 5 with a Target discount. I could go in there and like get a nice
The
outfit for
Target discount's a
oh my
perk.
gosh, that'd be awesome. But it's like, what would the pay be? And would you be fulfilled there? So it's
Yeah.
like I'd rather go to bed crying at night a couple times, be like, what the hell did I put myself into? Than, live the safe life.
Yeah.
But I get it. I don't judge people who do that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I've contemplated it, but it's not for me. My personality is meant for like, let's do some crazy things
Yeah.
and work through it as we go.
Do you feel like you were born that way, or do you feel like that was something developed? Because you applied for your real estate license at 18.
Mhm.
So something in you had to be entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
But like, was that always there? Like, do you remember that as like a young kid, or was that something that came later on in life?
Yeah, I'm just giggling because it's like, it was so abundantly clear I was too much from the get-go. But growing up, I was always in timeout at school. I was always at the principal's office. I was just like the kid that, again, was just like too much. My teachers were like, dude, take it down a
Chill out.
notch. Yes. I remember too, even being at friends' houses and parents would be like, they'd pull me on the side and be like, Cassie, chill. And I'd be like, okay. And I just didn't know how to slow down. I was always going. At one point, I vividly remember I was in all the sports growing up. Like my parents signed me up for everything. And I would literally go from like, this was in middle school vividly, but I would go from school to, let's say basketball was in season. In middle school, you'd go to your basketball practice, and then my mom would pick me up and she'd take me to soccer practice. And then it's like 7 p.m. Then after that, I'd go to cheer. I was at cheer from like 7 to 10. And I'm back home at like 10:30. And my parents are split, but my dad lives in a different state. And he would literally call me sometimes and be like, Cass, can we pick one? Can we pick like one or two? Because I don't know if he was saying that out of like physically your body like needs a break, or if he was like, it's a lot of money
Yeah.
to like do all these sports. But he was like, dude. And I was just like, no.
I have to do them all.
Yep. Every single one I have to be signed up for. And that's just been me growing up. And I think all my friends would agree. But the cool thing One of my best friends, her name is Jessie. Shout out Jessie. She is kind of the opposite of me, which is so cool. She's kind of like the groundedness.
Mm-hmm.
So anything when I've been too much or I've been too loud or I've said maybe things that were just a little borderline, she's kind of the one to laugh and then later be like, dude. And I'm like, oh, I know, gosh, I just can't shut up or whatever. And she totally just gets me and she understands how I am. And so when I'm around her, I feel very heard,
Yeah.
but I also feel very understood. Like a lot of people I think have just been like, "Ooh, Cassie's too much." And I'm just like, "I get it. I'm
Mm.
not going to like hate you for that. I get it." But with her it's like, "Cass, jeez." And she almost takes it as like a funny thing cuz she's like, "That's my friend."
Yeah.
And it's funny cuz her Noah's the one I was talking. There's a lot of Noahs.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also very similar to me in that way, like kind of is very fast paced. And so it's funny cuz she's dating him now and she'll call
Yeah.
me and be like, guess what Noah just did? It's totally something you would do. And I'm like, oh no. And it's like he's doing things too fast or he messes something up because he's like his brain's in 8 different places.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's perfect for you, Jess. You guys like level each other out. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think you kind of need somebody like my wife's very much been that for me, like a more grounding individual.
What does she do?
She's a homemaker. She stays at home and she also helps a lot with my business and stuff. So she does all the social media, all the clips that you see go out on the podcast.
These are like a power couple.
Yeah, she helps a lot with the business, but like really just helps keep me grounded. I often like I'm such a high achiever that I like beat myself up when I have like one non-productive day or one day where I feel like my business isn't forwarding or improving. And I don't know, she kind of just levels me out a little bit, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it's good to be a high achiever, but also you need somebody that's like, hey, it's okay. Not every day has to be the greatest day in the world. You're human. And she levels me out in a lot of other ways too. But I'm very much all over the place. I have ADHD.
Do you actually?
I do. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Tell me about that though, because I do feel like really successful entrepreneurs have like attention disorders and stuff, right? Like it's almost a blessing. Or no, would you say it's
100% a blessing?
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like I grew up kind of thinking I was stupid for a long time because I didn't do well in school. I was a horrible test taker because like I'd have to read questions over and over again to try to like actually think about what was going on. I don't think I've ever told this story on my podcast. I told it on another podcast, but the only class I ever excelled in was business, like a business class. And thinking back on it, I actually just like opened up an old yearbook and friend requested my business teacher on Facebook, and I was going to thank her. But I got
ask her to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I should
That'd be
ask her.
cool.
Yeah. She like convinced me to be in this business class. I didn't want to do it. We ended up like the whole premise of the class was you had to start a business and raise money, and whoever raised the most money, like, and you give it to a charity of your choice, and whoever could raise the most money, like, got the A in the class.
That's cool.
And we raised more money than all of the other like groups combined in all of the classes, which is kind of cool. So
you were like the record setter?
Yeah. And we got invited to the academic awards. But I got this letter in the mail that was like, oh, you've been invited to the academic awards. And it didn't say what it was for. And so I thought it was a joke. Like I was like, I got invited to the academic awards. Like, have you seen my GPA? It's horrible. I don't even show up to class half the time.
Yeah.
I was not a good student. But so I was like, all right, I have to see this through. I'm going to show up. And I show up to the academic awards, and my last name is Vasquez. So I'm the last on the list. And I'm waiting for like, why am I here? Like, was this a mistake? Did they accidentally mail it to me? Are they not even going to call my name and I'm going to get embarrassed? And they called my name, and it was for like a certificate in business, like just excelling in business class.
How cool.
And it was cool because thinking back on it, like that was the first time I thought I wasn't dumb, truthfully. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and it was just a cool, like a cool experience. And I was like, okay, I'm not good at math and I'm not the greatest reader and I'm not good at this, but I'm really, really good at business. And I think that's really helped like excel me in my career because that's just something that I'm very confident in that I like know I can figure out, that I know I can pivot. Um, yeah, it's just how my brain works. So yeah,
Yeah.
long story short, ADHD has been a huge help in
That's awesome.
my
And
business.
you're able to pivot fast.
Yeah,
That's your superpower. You're a
100%.
pivoter.
Yeah, yeah. I call it bob and weave in my business. Like anytime something comes, I'm like, all right, I got
Okay,
something for
switch
that. Yeah.
gears. Cool. Your brain probably likes that because it's like, sweet, on to the next
I
thing.
almost can't do consistency. Like I couldn't work a 9 to 5 because I'd get so bored. Days would feel so long. Like I need excitement and I need like just a little bit of stress. I don't like to be overly stressed, but I thrive in like just a little bit of a stressful environment, if that makes sense.
So, are you someone then at home who I read a study about this, but are you clean at home and super organized, or are you like a messy
I'm a
person?
messy person. Yeah.
Okay, I have read this interesting, but that messy people on average are more successful
Hmm.
than people who are organized because you can live in chaos. So
Yeah.
like you know where your things are
It's
and you
weird.
still know how to like get on with your life in mess. So your
Yeah.
brain kind of like I'm the opposite. So I have to have things really organized. Otherwise, I just freak out. Like when we moved to our new house in June, you can ask Matt, but I was a mess for like 2 months because I was like,
Yeah.
where's this? Where's that? And it'd be tiny things, but I would just be like, normally it's here. It's not there. And I just get super overwhelmed. But if I wasn't that way and I was able to like live in chaos, you're able to put your mind towards things that are more important
Yeah.
instead of worrying about the mess. Does that make sense?
100%.
So you're
Yeah.
able to block out the things that don't matter essentially. So
Yeah.
on average, people who are messy are tend to be more successful.
It makes sense. Yeah. And it worked really well for my business for like a little while, but I knew I had to hire people that were organized.
Totally.
Because like I was running my business off of Google Drive for a little while um and it just wasn't sustainable. So I hired an operations manager and an office manager last year.
Good for
And they're
you.
both very, very organized individuals. So like my chaos works for me and then they keep everything else in the business organized. So
Totally.
it works really well.
You have a cool system set up. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Um so talk to me about getting into real estate. Like what did that look like?
Mhm.
You graduated college. Did you get straight into real estate from there? Were you trying a few different things and ultimately found real estate? How did that work?
Yeah. So gosh, junior year would have been 2021-ish, probably end of 2020, 2021. I don't know. Um, I had a really hard time my junior year because I knew I didn't want to continue playing softball, especially during COVID. I look back and I'm like, if COVID hadn't have happened, I probably would have finished, but it was just so many head games trying to play while you're in COVID, and then also wondering like, what else could I be doing with my life? Purposeful things with my life instead of sitting here quarantining, you know?
Hmm.
So it was one event. I'm going to tell this story really quickly, but there was just one event that flipped the switch for me, and I immediately knew I was done and had planned my exit out of college. But it was during our small weight groups. I, for some reason, had a two-person weight group, and it was just me and this other girl. We'll just call her Girl. And her personality was very opposite than mine in the sense of she was very like timid
Mm.
and kind of like let life hit her. And I was very opposite. I like punch life, you know, which is ironic of the story I'm about to tell. I shouldn't use the word punch. But anyways, we're in this weight group. We have a planned time to go. And we kind of look forward to weights because it's like you're stuck in your room all day during COVID. So you kind of look forward to getting out and moving your body and doing something. So we're headed to weights, and I get a phone call from my coach, which typically when you get phone calls from your coach, your heart's kind of pumping and you're like, oh gosh, I'm in trouble or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And answer the phone from my coach, and she's like, hey, really weird, but Girl doesn't want to go to weights with you because she's scared of you. And I was literally just like,
Mm.
okay. I don't know why, but in that moment, I kind of just sank and I was like, again, too much, right? Like, it's always me. I'm always the person like being too much or somehow making her feel uncomfortable, which was beside me because I'd never even really talked to her that much. But obviously, she felt uncomfortable being around me in some sense. So I was just like, this sucks being like in a room with such small-minded people. I don't even really know her that well. This whole political climate that we're in, mixed with like COVID and just the intensity of sickness and the world as it was already so crappy.
Mhm.
And then that happened, and I just was like, I'm done. I can't be around these girls anymore. I can't be around this program. Being in downtown Denver during a pandemic was just brutal on your mental health. So I made a plan after that day. I told my coach, I was like, all right, thanks. Hung up the phone, went to weights by myself. The weight instructor at the time was so cool. And I showed up on my own and he's like, where's everyone else? And I was like, I'm scary. So it's just me. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, scared him off. Like literally scared them. I don't know. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Got through our weights. So after that, I just sat in my room that night and I was like, I've known what I've wanted to do. My identity outside of softball was real estate this whole time. I've been so excited to get into a career. I'm too much and I want to use my too muchness
Mhm.
as a good thing. I don't want to be punished for it anymore, is essentially what it felt like. So I immediately that night signed back up for real estate school, but this time I was like, I'm doing it in person because I'm getting this done. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no option B. This is what I'm doing. So signed up that night. It was in Greenwood Village actually, so it was a bit of a drive, but I was so willing to do it. So after practice on Tuesdays, we'd be done around like 4 or 5, and then I just drive straight to Greenwood Village, take my course on Tuesdays. Then you had like weekly tasks, and then on Tuesday you meet back up until the course was over.
How long is that course?
I want to say it was like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy in Colorado. You could get your real estate license so easily. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But anyways, got it, finished it. And then actually when I went into my exit meeting with my coach, because obviously I wasn't going to quit like middle of the season. I'm not that kind of person. I waited until season was over.
Mhm.
So we have what's called exit meetings with your coach where you go over like, all right, thanks for the season. What do you plan on doing next year? And I just sat down with her and I was like, thank you so much for everything, but this is not for me anymore. And I am just so excited to get in my career. So I'm going to do that. But best of luck next year. Half the team quit that year. I just think it was mentally so hard to be in sports at that time.
Mm.
So I walked away and I remember walking out of that locker room and I was like, I'm free. Like, I'm going to go crush my career. I felt so much gratitude for like what I had from college, but also so much excitement because I'd learned so many things. I was like, I can't wait to apply this to my job. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. I'd already had a company that I was working with during softball. I was very low key about all this. I didn't want to tell my coach. I didn't want to tell my teammates I was doing this. I just was like doing it. I didn't want to be like kicked off the team or her to think that like my priorities were somewhere else, which they were. Full transparency.
Mhm.
But that year, so it would have been 2021, is when I full on kicked off my real estate business and loved it. I was just around so many like powerful, cool people. And even there was one lady in particular, her name is Christina. She was one of the agents that I first met. I knew she was making like 900 $1 million a year. I just knew this. And I was like, who are you? And she was kind of like my idol when I first got in, not necessarily because of the money she was making, it was because of who she was.
Mm.
She would come in leggings, a vest, which is funny, I'm kind of wearing that today. But she would come in the most simple outfit. She was a mom. She was debt free. She owned 3 different houses, all
Mm.
paid off. Her husband was a stay at home dad. Still takes care of the kids to this day. They're about ready to retire. She's 35, I think, 35, 36.
Mm.
So young and so humble. You would meet this girl and think, oh my gosh, she is just your average Joe, walking the streets, like so nice. She would talk to anyone like their family. And I just was gravitating towards her because I'm like, you are so cool. And I just want to know you outside of work too. You're just an awesome human. So it was cool because she was one of my first like mentors, I guess, or someone I could like follow and learn from. And she was incredible. So that was my kickoff to real estate. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm away from this like small minded, very, softball. You're in that world, you're in that world. And I opened up the door to like life. It felt like at that time. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm about to learn so much. Like you, I would be so bored in the same setting, similar to college softball. You do the same workouts, the same thing every day,
Mhm.
a lot of discipline there. So when I transitioned to this new life of learning, growing, meeting people that were just so much better than me, I was like, yes, I'm going to learn and grow so much this year, and I was just pumped. That was kind of my intro in, and I just knew I had made the right choice. It just felt, when things just feel right.
Yeah.
That's totally how it felt. Like, here we go. Wasn't making any money. I was working at the front desk at Remax. It was minimum wage.
Mm.
I think my first year, 2021, I made 22 grand in commission,
Okay.
and I think like 20 grand at the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, $40,000. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. I was telling Matt, I was like, we made it. It's like 40 grand.
Yeah.
We were hardly covering rent, but I was like, we did it. And Matt's over here like,
No, we did it. No, we did not.
he was working a tile job at the time. Matt went and played professional ball.
Mm.
And when you're in the minor leagues, they pay you like $800 a month back then. They revised everything. I don't know what the pay is now, but it was $800 a month.
Wow.
They put you in a hotel with a roommate. You're in a hotel room. And they would shuttle you to practice and back, essentially. He was in Arizona, which was nice. He was with the Giants, so it was like a pretty setting,
Yeah.
nice. He could have been in worse places. And he was making $800 a month. And I remember then, too, we still felt like we made it because we were like, you're playing ball. I'm like in my career now. Like, yes, we're rolling in the money. We were just like, yeah. And looking back, I'm just like, wow, I love naive us. We were just so pumped and grateful for everything that we had because it was just not college sports where you're playing for free, right? Like, we were making a little bit of money and we were able to like afford an apartment, and we were just so grateful for that. I don't know how to explain that feeling, but it's when you're an entrepreneur and you first get started and you're getting those little wins. It feels so incredible. It feels like you're taking over the world.
Yeah.
Can you say you had like a similar experience like when you first got started?
Yeah. I will say this. I think the power of like proximity is so important. Like, I don't know if I fully believe this quote, but you hear people say a lot, like, you're a collection of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Love that.
And I believe it to some extent. I wouldn't say I like fully believe that entirely. But I do think even if you're not like making $900,000 a year, like your mentor was, just being around her and seeing how she operated and seeing how the other high producers in your office operated, especially if you're a sponge, you can soak it up. Like one of my first sales managers that really helped me in sales, he always would say, it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat.
Totally. Why reinvent the wheel if it's already done?
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to not only like see what they do professionally, but like what do their habits look like? Like what does she do when she wakes up in the morning? What is her attitude like? What is her gratitude like?
Also, how is the vibe? I think you can probably attest to this. You've done a lot of podcasts, but real estate as a whole is a very flashy industry, right?
Sure.
Like the coolest cars, the coolest clothes, best hair, best jewelry, like whatever that looks like. And Christina was one of the people that was totally opposite than that. And I think that's why I thought she was so cool, is I was like, you are just such a humble human. And I want to be that person. I don't want the flashy things, right? Like you're debt free. You are so much farther than 90% of Americans, right? And I don't want the flashy car. I want the debt freeness. I kind of gravitated towards her because that. And she walked into the office and I don't think anyone would know how much money she made. She never said it. She never flaunted her things. She was a very like low key individual. And that's why I think I liked her so much. And if you gravitate towards the flashy people, that's cool too. But for me, I was just like starry eyed at the humbleness. And I thought that was such a cool way to live. Like, hey, you can still be on your pedestal, but also just be such like a private person.
For
and
sure.
I love people like that. I wish I could be more like that.
Yeah. And you have to like find what works for you. Like I feel like a lot of people maybe see the flashiness in real estate and they're like, oh, I have to be that, even though that's not them. Like that is some people. Some people really like the designer clothes and the nice cars and stuff. I like my truck. Like,
Totally.
So you have to like be able to model your business off of people that have similar values, similar goals, and find those people, because you can't model your business off of that person when you're not that person. Because I think eventually you're going to cap out. Like eventually, like it may get you to a certain point, but then it's just not going to get you there, or it may get you there and you're not going to be happy.
Totally. That would be That would be one of the philosophical things I think about a lot is like, if you are in the entrepreneurial world with the intent of monetary success, you are going to cap out
Mm-hmm.
because money ends somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you're in that space with the intent of relationship and customer service, and how can I make a positive impact for someone today in some way, whether it's free or not? We work for free a lot. You could probably attest to that.
Yeah.
Then that's when all of a sudden money kind of becomes repetitive because people are like, whoa, I feel taken care of. I feel comfortable. You said it earlier. I have such a hard time working with realtors because they want their clients to be taken care of. And so sometimes they're like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, same thing on, our business standpoint too. Any entrepreneurial role, like if people don't feel safe or like taken care of, they're not going to call you back or they're not going to refer their friends. So, on a philosophical level,
Yeah.
in an entrepreneurship world, the monetary goal is not necessarily the best
Yeah.
item to chase after. Maybe you find success in that, and you're the small percentage of people that do, but you really have to be focused on people more than profit.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's one of my company's core values is people over profit. Um, so if it's not about monetary success, what do you feel like your why is? Like what drives you to be successful and work as hard as you do?
I love that because I want to wake up every morning and be like, how can I positively help someone today? Or how can I just make an impact today? And growing up, I would say I've always been that way. It's
Mm,
not anything that I had to learn in business. And again, whether the impact was good or bad or annoying growing up, right? I was always making an impact somewhere. Everyone knew my name, whether it's because I was in the principal's office or because I scored a lot of points in basketball. Like someone was like, whoa, Cassie's been impactful somewhere.
mhm.
It's just the nature of, I think, who I am. I don't want that to sound conceited either, but it's just my personality. Like similar to you, I'm sure you feel like, wow, I impact a lot of people's lives every day without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's through charity, through just work, whether you go home and you're able to provide for your family, that's an impact, right?
Yeah.
That's my why. I'm just like, I know there's a lot of bad people
Yeah.
in my industry, or maybe people that just get into it for the quick money game and they're not truly worried about other people. And so when anyone calls me or asks for my services, I'm like, if you say no, I apologize in advance that you're not working with me because I know I will take such great care of you and you will leave my world or my realm of work so satisfied. So if you don't want to work with me, I'm sorry in advance. It's almost like you have the choice, but it's a really bad choice if you don't work with me. Like that's truly how, and I believe
Yeah.
that to my core because I'm like, I have seen, I've helped people through domestic violence, divorce, even on our flips. I mean, so much death is involved with that, right? And kids who are like, I don't know what to do with this property. It's a debt now. It's a liability. We're already dealing with our parents' funeral and the will and the estate, and they're a mess. And I'm like, let me take it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I understand your circumstances. I will get this off your plate. I literally, this is my business in a nutshell, and I like to tell this story because it's, I think, fitting to things I see on a daily basis. But I had a guy in Lockbuoy, which is like eastern Colorado. It's kind of close to like Brighton area. And he had walked into the Remax office, but at the time I was the only person in there. So I took like the appointment with him. And he was like, I have termites in my house. I hate being a homeowner. Get me out. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, slow down. What's going on? He explained everything. And I said, okay, let's just go to your place. Let's walk through it. And I'm happy to kind of analyze what your best options are. And we walked in there. It was bad. Like, you could tell he was just living in a mess. I don't think he had the money to kind of like upkeep the house.
Mm,
It was a really tough situation. And he basically just said, like, I should have never bought a house. He hated it. And there are people like that that just don't do well with homeownership. So I felt obviously for him. And I immediately was like, let me call my people. So I called all of my investor database and I was like, this one's a tough one.
mm.
And I told the guy, I was like, you might get 75 grand for this house. And he was like, okay, I don't care. Get me out. That's how much he was just like, get me out. It
Wow.
was sad. So I called on my investor database. The next day, I had two guys there. One was a cash buyer. The other one, I'm pretty sure needed financing. But obviously the cash guy was like, if you want to make a deal,
Let's make it happen.
yeah, I was like, let's make it happen. And he was like, 90 grand cash. And I was like, great. accepted. I was like, you pay me a fee on top of that, but we'll take it. Had him an offer within the next like 2 days.
Wow.
He cried. He called me on the phone. He was crying. He's like, is this serious? And I was like, it's serious. Like, this guy's taking it. You can be out of here in 2 weeks. Are you good? Can you move in that time? He's like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually packing right now. He went to closing and just cried. He had his truck packed up and he was just full of emotion. He's like, thank you so much. That was hell. Like, I hated my life in that house. I know there's termites. I've been living in just like a mess. The landscaping, was like taller than his house. You could just tell he had just fallen behind and it was overwhelming. And he just cried and cried. And I'm like, that's the impact I want to make. And it might not be to that level every time, but in that way, somehow, every single person that I come across or I meet. And that's how we got into flipping too.
Yeah.
Should I explain that too? I've been talking.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, that's an awesome story. It's really cool to just have those moments. Like I think on my business a lot, and like my most fulfilling moments have been doing things for other people, like not monetary success I've achieved in my business or not like this goal I hit. It's all been like this moment where I'm like, oh wow, I made a really big impact. And like solar, like it's not like I'm a firefighter or, a paramedic or, saving lives per se.
I can relate to you on that a lot.
But I've had a lot of instances where I've been able to like make a really big impact in the way that I could.
Yeah. And that feels better than the paycheck, but then the paycheck comes just because you were doing good work.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden people are like, oh, Alex is really awesome.
Yeah.
He did a really good job. I felt taken care of. I'm going to send his name out to 5 more people that I know need his help.
Yeah.
And that's how it just naturally happens if you're just doing good work.
100%.
And I would say I relate to you on like, we're not in industries that people are like, wow, that's, what do you call that? Like a lawyer would be like, what do you call that? Like pristine or like.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's like this higher social status of like, wow, you're in like a doctor field or like
like you're actually saving lives on the daily basis. Yeah.
And in our industries, people might more so be like salesy or like sketchy.
Yeah.
Kind of. I get that vibe a lot from people. And like you were saying at that networking event, people are like solar.
Yeah.
Like it happens a lot to us. But then if you're that one person out of the flock that can make an impact, all of a sudden people start thinking of the industry a little bit differently. And they're like, whoa, maybe I just was connected with the wrong people or I misunderstood how that worked. Or, oh, wow, if I do get connected to the right people, I actually can have a lot of success using these partners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always call it the dream team. So like even though people might think real estate agents are like disposable, I'm like, you do want a real estate agent, you want a really good CPA, a financial advisor, unless you're your own, but to have someone manage that for you might be nice.
Yeah.
Anything along those lines when it comes like accounting, bookwork, finances, stocks, mutual funds, retirement, and real estate's one of those things.
Yeah.
And so I think it really frustrates me, and that's the reason why I'm like, if you're gonna say no to this, I'm sorry right now, is because I make that dream team for people, and I'm like, hey, let's actually sit down and consider what is your 5-year plan. Are we having kids? Are we going to rent this?
Yeah.
Do we want an Airbnb? Okay, then we need to look for certain rules, regulations, profit margins. Are we even going to be able to make this happen? And people are kind of like, I've never been asked that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no one's ever cared about you.
Yeah.
But I care about you. And I'll even be like, who's your financial advisor? What have you invested in? Do you have mutual funds open, a 401k, anything? And people be like, what? And I'm like, we're going to start that because I want you to be successful. And in 10 years, call me back and be like, we're ready to buy $1 million house because we saved money. And we're ready to put our kids into a private school or something that's like it impacts your life positively.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do with all of my people. I was like, all right, let's figure this out. And I've had really good loyalty rate with that because I get so intimate with them. Like I know their marriage, I know their kids, I know their financial situation. We've done numbers on their house and how it can make money for them. So then I have people call me back, even like, hey, I'm taking this job. What do you think? And I'm like, wow, thanks for asking my opinion on that. Because I'm like, cool. That makes me feel really important and I appreciate that. But it's almost like you've been such a big part of our financial picture. So I'm just wondering, like, do you think this is a good move? And I'm always like, I can't tell you the answer, but I'm really happy that you asked. And here's my opinion.
Yeah.
And like, best of luck. I literally had a call like that yesterday on a Zoom. And I felt so cool about that. I'm like, thank you. Just feeling needed in that way feels so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot more than just picking cabinet colors and,
Totally.
finding, a big backyard and a
Right.
two-bedroom house,
It's
there's
so
a
much
lot
more
more
than
that
that.
goes into it.
And I feel bad for people that end up working with agents that maybe that is the only thing that they offer is like, let me unlock the door. Let me write the offer. We all do the same thing.
Yeah.
I had a team at one point, like a real estate team. We dismantled it a few months ago, like around October. But one of the things I would kind of preach to the girls is like, what makes you stand out? Because we're all doing the same contracts. Colorado's very regulated, so it's the same process no matter if you buy a condo or a single family or a apartment complex. I don't know. It's all the same.
Mhm.
So what makes you different? And it'd kind of be like, well, kind of silence. And it'd be like,
Yeah,
okay, well, we need to actually go home and make that our homework of like, what are we going to do that makes us not average so that we don't cap out
for
and we
sure.
don't hit that wall of like, well, I don't have anyone else to help.
Yeah.
I've done all of my online marketing and now no other leads are flowing in.
Mhm.
Well, it's like, okay, well, at that point now referrals should be coming in because you've cared and you've helped people so much on such a different level.
Yeah.
And so anyways, to go back to your original question of like the why, it's never been a financial why for me. I could care less if I make 22,000 or 500. I could care less. Or if I'm like Christina, I'm making 1 million, that'd be nice. Like you
Mhm.
could have some financial freedom there. But I think my ultimate goal is just to make a positive impact. And that's my why. I just really care about people and I really want them to be in a great position so bad. And that's what wakes me up every morning. I can't wait to call my clients and be like, all right, inspection came back. Let's get you some more credits so you don't have to bring as much to closing. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like pumped. I'm like, I want you guys to walk into this house and buy new furniture, do whatever you need
Yeah.
to do. I just love helping. And I think that's what fills my cup a lot is my too muchness can also be a very positive way to help
Yeah.
people. And I love that.
I love that too. Tell me about real estate investing.
Mhm.
How'd you get into it? Um, yeah. Yeah, how did you get into it?
Yeah. Okay. So back in, I think it was early 2024. Yeah. I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember the year. My dad and I, he was in town and we saw an estate sale sign, and I've never been to an estate sale. Have you been to one?
Mm-mm.
They're really cool. It's like if someone passes away, an estate sale company will come in and organize all of their belongings so they can sell it before they sell the house.
Mhm.
Because sometimes there'll be like hoarder situations or.
Mhm.
My dad's like, hey, have you ever been? We should stop by this one. And at the time, we were living in Broomfield. And so I was like, sure, why not? It was like a Sunday, we had nothing to do. So we pulled into this estate sale. And I immediately, when we pulled up, I was like, wait, I want this house. I didn't care about the sale. It's like, this house is so cool. It was a 1970s brick ranch and it had like a cute front porch and it had a big backyard. And it was just a really cool house. Well, we walk in and my dad's like, dude, you're going to have to do everything here, like electrical, plumbing, drywall. Like it was all just it was very 70s.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I still want it. So we're like going through the estate sale. I bought a couple things, I'm so glad I did because it's kind of like our memorabilia of our first flip. But I bought this green chair and then some hiking gear. He had like backpacking and ski gear. It was super
Mm.
cool. So we bought some of that. I'm leaving, I'm checking out, and I asked the lady, I'm like, are they selling this or kind of what's happening next? And she was like, yes, they are selling. And I was like, I'm interested personally, like for a first house, this would be
Mhm.
so cool. And she was like, oh, yeah, put your phone number down. So I did, and we left. I told my dad, I was like, they're never going to call back. I'll just forget about that. So months go by, and they didn't. So I just forgot about it. We ended up buying a whole nother house, like our first house in Broomfield. And then 8 months, 9 months later, so it was a while later, I get an email, and it was like, Flint Drive or whatever, Broomfield, Colorado, interested parties. And I was like, huh? And so I click on it and he had emailed a bunch of people in
Wow.
one email that had left their card, I guess, saying they were interested. And he was like, hey, all of you have said you're interested. We're taking highest and best offers. And I was like, well, darn, I already bought my first house.
Yeah.
But I kind of got excited because I'm like, wait, this is an opportunity to positively impact someone. So I'm going to do my best to just see what I can do to help.
Yeah.
So I emailed back and I was like, hey, we already bought our first house, but can I just meet you guys there and maybe give you some options? And he was like, actually, that'd be great because we have no idea what we're doing.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, how lucky was I?
Yeah.
So I met them there and I brought 3 net sheets, which have you know, I had never done a flip before. So I'm thinking back and I'm like, Cass, you nailed this. I could have like gone about this so many different ways, but I think I did well. But I brought 3 different net sheets. And the first one was I said, hey, if you guys sell it right now on the market, you'd probably get like 380 because it would have to be completely gutted and then resold. And he was obviously like, no, I'm not taking 380. Then the second net sheet, I was like, okay, well, you said it appraised at 525. So if that's the case, we put it on the market for that. Not only are you not going to get offers there, but now you're going to have to fix the aluminum wiring in the house. You're going to have to redo all the plumbing. Like, nothing's up to code.
Yeah.
There's shag carpet, smells bad. Like, there's a lot that has to be done. And he was like, that doesn't really sound fun either. And I'm like, no. Then the third net sheet came along. And I was like, this is at 650. I gave him one at 650 and he's like, 650. And I'm like, if you let me renovate this, I'll resell it for you at 650. And so now your profit was shoot like $100,000 more.
Yeah.
And they had 5 kids to split the proceeds between. So like the profit really mattered to them.
Wow.
A lot. Like they were definitely profit forward on it just to pay the funeral bills, pay the kids back for helping out the estate sale and the company and all that. So he was like, let me think on it and I'll get back to you. And I was like, okay. So I just left him with that. I'm a no pressure kind of girl. So I'm like, here's the info. Let me know if you want to work together, whatever.
Yeah.
I leave and I'm still like, a couple months go by. So I'm like, yeah, you moved on to somebody else. I kept looking on the MLS. Is it listed? And then I get an email from him and his sister and they were like, hey, we want to move forward. And I was like, what?
Wow.
And now at this point I'm reading this and I'm kind of freaking out because I'm like, I've never renovated a house. What's the first step? I don't even know. So luckily I'd met a gal named Kristen that was flipping homes in Denver. She also went to Metro State, which was cool. She played soccer there. So I met her and I was like, hey, can you just help mentor me on this one? Because I don't even know what I'm doing. So I paid her like a mentorship fee. She kind of like walked me through the first flip. They held on to the property. I renovated it with my own money.
Okay.
And then we basically signed a contract saying that all of my money would be refunded back to me at the closing table and then plus my commission. So we agreed on all of that. We got the renovation done in a few months. Ended up selling the house. Initially, we were going to list for $615. We ended up listing for $650 and sold for $660.
Wow.
They were ecstatic. Like they were like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
And in that moment, it was another one of those times in my career where I was like, we have so much power in our hands as agents, and some people don't really unlock the true power that we have. They're just kind of doing the standard like list and buy thing.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was kind of looking at Matt and I'm like, could we like do this on our own?
It was a big confidence booster.
Totally. Because I'm like, we went through it. We got it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bills almost didn't get paid, but like we did it.
Yeah.
And that's how we actually got into flipping number 1, but also number 2, we had to get creative with where we were getting money from. Because after that, I realized like I have bills to pay. I can't be outing 100, 200 grand on these flips and then also pay my mortgage.
Yeah.
So we were like, we kind of have to get smart with that. And that's where a gal named Katie McCaslin comes into the picture. She is a beast. She flips homes in Denver like crazy. She's awesome. She also does unique, really cool projects.
Cool.
She came into the picture. I met her at one of her open houses and I was just inquiring and I'm like, how do you get your funds? I'm like asking questions now, like, how do I do this? And she had said, I either number 1 will set up an LLC for that project and then have partners in it. And so they invest like into the business. We close the business when the house sales or sells and then I move on. Or I will get investors to give me money. We write promissory notes. So they're like a lien on the property and then they're first to get paid back when we go to sell the house. And I was like, I'm like, my wheels are turning now. I'm like, I could do this. So then after that, we ended up picking up our very first actual flip that was one that we purchased. And it was in Aurora, Colorado. It was a townhome and had vaulted ceilings, a basement. It was a really cool townhome. That one kind of went viral online. Like people were sharing it a lot. They liked it. It was a cool place. Sold in a weekend. And we borrowed funds from one of the Noahs. And that project was one of the ones he made the 28% return in 3 months. He gave me, to give you like numbers, he gave me 20 grand. And by the end of it, I gave him a check for like 27.5 or something. And it was a couple months. And he was like, dude, you crushed the stock market. And then he kind of sat down with me. And again, he's like a squirrel guy too. So he was like, dude, you could do a lot with this. Like, and we were kind of sitting down and he's like, do a lot at a time and you can like get different investors and here's how we could like pitch it. And I'm like, now my wheels are totally just like hot because I'm like, okay, I could really scale this. So then after that, we just started searching for more and more properties. But the one thing I've always been consistent with is I will not buy something if the numbers don't make sense. And people think, like I get told from wholesalers all the time, like, you're just greedy. You just want these big spreads. And I'm like, no, I do really good work. So I'm spending an extra 30, 40, 50 grand sometimes versus other investors.
You're not doing cheap.
No, we're doing like nice finishes. We're sometimes refiguring floor plans so it's functional for people. We'll look at a house and be like, what does the next buyer of this house look like? And how would they live in it? So, for example, the one we have right now in Longmont is definitely probably going to be an older client. So, we were like, we have to have main floor living, like a bathroom on the main floor and a bedroom. So, everything's accessible kitchen, bathroom, whatever. So, we kind of redid the floor plan a little bit there. I love a good vaulted ceiling moment. I don't think anyone can complain with that. Wood beams are great if we can get them. Good location. I was in Aurora for our first couple because that was just where we landed, but I will not touch that area anymore. Like we're only west of I-25. So love Boulder, love Lafayette. Longmont's been kind of our hidden gem right now.
Mm.
It's also not saturated. No one really thinks of Longmont, so it's been easy to pick up projects there. Longmont also has this really high influx of Boulder people that purchase in Longmont but commute into
Makes sense, yeah. Because
So-
it's like 25 minutes.
Yep, 25, and you can take all back roads, so it's no really like highway
Not to
driving.
do I-25 or anything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So people will commute to Boulder and they typically it's engineering jobs or tech jobs. Boulder has a very high paying job hub there. So people pay cash most of the time when we sell in that area, which is great. So anyways, that's how we got into it and then ended up figuring that we could get private investors involved. And the amount of doors it's opened. We can kind of talk about that
Yeah.
too, but
Well, I'm just curious, like how. So you did the one deal with Noah, which was a pre-existing relationship. You did great on getting him a return on his investment, like crush the stock market. How did you start pitching people? Like, how do you convince people to give you their retirement funds? Or because $20,000 for a lot of people is kind of a lot of money
yeah.
to hand over to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you haven't done this 50 times yet at this point. And obviously you have a lot of confidence in yourself. But how did you instill that confidence in other people to be able to invest into you and your projects?
What you just said is kind of what my answer is going to be, like the
Yeah.
confidence piece.
Yeah.
The way I see pressure is that it's an illusion. So if you're in a room of 1,000 people and you think that's a really important thing, you'll probably feel pressure. You'll probably be nervous. If you're in a room of one person and it's a really important person or an important interview that might change your life, you might feel pressure. I look at it the opposite way again, like with my clients. The way I pitch it is kind of like, all right, if you give me this money, here's the terms on it. We'll sign a promissory note, so you'll be a lien on title. You'll be a lender, essentially, loaning me money on title. If I run away to Mexico and you can't find me, you literally have interest on this property. So you can recoup the property and sell it yourself, whatever, but you're on title. So it's an official thing. The way I look at it too is like, if you don't want to invest in this, sorry, I guess go make less in the stock market. Like that's kind of the way I pitch it. Like,
Yeah.
totally up to you. It's a really great opportunity. When Noah and Grant, this is the first project they've invested with me on. And one of the questions that Grant asked me that I actually get asked a lot when I'm pitching this is he's like, what's the downside? And I'm always like, I want to give you something, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the only downside is that your money's tied up for a certain amount of time.
Like, don't give you money if you need that $50,000 or whatever it is, like immediately. But if you have extra reserves and the $50,000 isn't going to be make or break.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that, it's hard to believe. Like, I think some people might probably look at me and be like, I don't get it. Like, there has to be a downside. But the way I protect my investors is that they get paid first. So think about with flips, you're buying stuff so under market value that even after renovation, there's always going to be a pool of profit after everybody's paid. So there's no way for the investors not to get paid. If anyone doesn't get paid, it's me because I'm the very last person to take a check. So I'll explain that to my investors. I'll also say, hey, there's a floor. So if you're going to do, I pay people in 3 different ways. You can do interest payments, you can do a profit share, or you can do like a set fee. You can set your return and then make the fee back. What Grant and Noah noticed is they were like, why wouldn't people do the profit share? It's like so much better. And I'm like, well, there's a downside. There's a floor, right?
Yeah.
Like if we don't do well and I have $0 in profit, there's just a set fee I have to pay you that's like a floor just to give you your money back plus whatever we agreed upon that was like the floor.
Yeah.
And they were both like, but it's still a good return. It's like 10%. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I can't really give you a downside. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like sketchy here. It's just that's literally how it operates. And so they did like more research and they were calling people and they were like, where do I sign? This is just like awesome. I'm like, yeah. The cool thing about investing with us too is that although your money's tied up for that amount of months, it's totally passive. So You don't come to the project, you don't call a contractor, you don't touch a thing, and then all of a sudden at closing, I'm just asking you what's your mailing address so that I can mail you a check. So it's like completely passive.
That's awesome. Have you ever had anybody that gave you the money and then like wanted to kind of give their 2 cents and you had to push that back? Or do you just set really, really good expectations from the start that you don't even have to worry about that?
I'm definitely an expectation setter with my clients and with investors too, but yeah, we essentially I'll have meetings with them. Like when I'm pitching it, I'll tell them the premise of it, but then in the same conversation, I'll be like, just so you guys know too, if you're going to sign on the dotted line, don't call me, don't text me, don't ask to come to the project. If
Yeah.
you really want to see it, happy to bring you by, but you need to just give me a heads up.
Yeah.
Don't just be showing up and talking to my contractors and wasting time or whatever. And I think that's another incentive for them as investors is, hey, if you show up, you could delay this. So if you don't want to delay, I don't want to delay. Let's just stay away.
Yeah.
And most of my investors are like, great. I don't want to hear a damn thing. They're like, I don't want to hear the bad because that would freak me out. I don't want to hear the good because then I'd get excited. So just don't tell me anything. And I'm like, great. And that's
Yeah.
honestly how the relationship has gone with my investors.
Cool.
And since there's contracts in place, I think just the expectations are set clearly. No one has any like questions and you just wait till closing day essentially. Cool thing is too, they become advocates when the properties are done, obviously, because they have money invested into it. So they'll share it, they'll tell people about the project, they'll be like, hey, anyone looking in Longmont? Like they kind of almost help advocate for you. So
Yeah.
I think that's been part of the reason why some of the projects will get a lot of traction is just
Mhm.
because I have so many people invested in them, or I'm opening so many doors. Like the flip I sold this week was just because it was a contractor of mine that I met, and he was like, you do a good job selling houses. Want to sell my house? So it's like it's opened doors too for me in a lot of ways. Like the way I look at it is if my investors can make money off of me, they'd probably also call me if they like need to buy a house or sell a house or they need some advice on taxes or insurance, or they'd probably call me. And they do, which is really awesome. And so I've learned without intentionally doing it that again, by making a positive impact and just bringing other people on board to also succeed, you just open a jillion doors
Mhm.
of business opportunity, of friendship opportunity, and it's been incredibly awesome. I feel like so grateful that we did this and that life just kind of like led me to that estate sale where
Yeah.
everything started.
Yeah. That's cool. And do you fully fund with private money or is it more like gap funding? Like have you funded an entire deal with other people's money or do you
Mhm.
also utilize some sort of I think it's called hard money, right?
Mhm.
Like not traditional financing, but
Yeah, I'm glad
um
you know that term. I feel like it's a
yeah,
very like unknown
I know a
term.
little bit about real estate
Yeah,
investing.
you're kind
Yeah.
of like a pro.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we finance the entire purchase price of the property. If we're buying something for like 500, it's all hard money.
Okay.
And then private investors fund the rehab.
Gotcha.
So hard money, they offer to fund rehab. But see, again, there's an opportunity missed. You could take the hard money rehab funds, but you're not meeting anyone doing that. You're not
True.
helping anyone. You're not making a positive impact in anyone's life. So, okay, you did it, but you didn't really do anything exceptional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just did the standard thing.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, okay, wait, I can meet a lot of people doing this. I can help them grow their money, make a positive impact. So that's why I added in just calling friends and family and saying, hey, does anyone want to pitch in money towards this flip? And no one's ever been hesitant about it. They've all wanted to do it. It's just the terms like, what if?
Mm,
What if? What if? And then I'm just like, yeah, well, if this happens, this happens, this. So that's what we've like worked through. But no one's ever really given me a lot of pushback as far as like, it's a bad idea. I think people see real estate as a generally good investment. And so when they see what I'm doing, especially because I put it on social media a lot, it's kind of a no-brainer, like, yeah, why not make some passive income or,
yeah.
if I can beat the stock market for a couple months, great. Some people too, some of my investors are now at the point where they're like, just keep rolling in the money. So whatever the profit is, I want you to just roll it into the next project because they're just like, I see it's doing well. So at the end of the year, just let me know how much I made.
Cool.
I'm like, yeah, awesome. So it's become kind of in just a year and a half, it's almost become it is its own little business. And
That's
it's been
awesome.
super cool to, again,
Yeah.
help others in a way too. But yeah, that's how we fund it. And then the way my philosophy is that if anything's over budget, so let's say after rehab, we still have holding costs because we went over budget or over time, I will come out of pocket for those
Okay.
expenses. It would be way too hard to go back to an investor and be like, can I get 5 grand? They'd be
Yeah.
like, what? So I come out of pocket for those things. And that's the way that we can kind of keep the business going while also paying our bills
Yeah.
and not like totally stressing about every project.
For sure. And then you're not coming out of pocket like $50,000 or $100,000. You're coming out 10, maybe $20,000, depending on, you know, how you ran your numbers.
Exactly. And
Uh,
I've liked this strategy.
yeah.
I mean, we'll probably revise as we go, but for now it's been working good.
Yeah. And for somebody that's listening that hears what you're saying and they're like, oh, that's really cool.
Mhm.
Um, who is your ideal investor? Like, who typically invests in these kind of projects? Is it
Yeah.
something anybody can do? Is there a certain type of person that like it's really, really fitting for?
Yeah. I would say anyone with a lot of liquid cash. So I normally try to reach out to like tech salespeople, really anyone in a sales industry, because typically you'll be very liquid heavy. And then at the end of the year, you've got to like somehow defer taxes.
Yeah.
So spending it with me is a good way to do that. In December, I always get a lot of calls, and it's like, Cass, any projects? Can I like offload some money here? And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ah." But end of the year, anyone who needs like tax savings or defer it to investments, like I'm one of those people. Anyone that has my standard is like 50 grand or more that's just liquid that you can dish out for a few months and not need it. Some people have been like, I'll give you 10. And I'm like, it just 10 would maybe cover the utility and mortgage costs for 2 months. So it doesn't really make sense. And these rental projects are 100, 150 grand, right? So 10, just I'd have to get like 20 investors on one
Yeah. It's a
deal.
lot of people.
It is. So I always say like to set realistic expectations. Typically it's 50 grand unless we're doing like a condo. So 50 grand minimum. If you want to invest more, you can. Anyone that's in construction too has been a really good one for me because they know how hard construction is.
Hmm.
So when they see that they could make money in construction passively, they're like, ooh.
Yeah. I like that.
My biggest investor right now is in construction and he has 3 kids and he does a lot cooler things than me. But I think his ultimate goal is like, I'd really love to be a dad more
Mhm.
than a general contractor. So he's kind of trying to take a step back a little bit and just invest simply into our projects. And he knows how much you can make in it. He sees the profit margins. He's one of my set fee guys. Like, I want 12% return no matter what. Give me that and I'm good.
Yeah.
So he's like a set fee guy, which is nice. I kind of know what my costs are with him. But yeah, construction guys, anyone in sales that's very liquid heavy, even if you're just someone who maybe like inherited money and you're like, where do I put it?
Hmm.
Or if you're someone who has money in stocks and you're just like, it's doing all right, but I could pull some out, make a little bit of extra, reinvest. That's cool too. Really, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
It just, again, you need to.
Liquid capital and you don't need it for 6 months, maybe. That's awesome. That's a
Isn't that
really
cool?
cool concept. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then think about to my clients who like work with me and need a cabinet company or a
Yeah.
plumber or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, I'm telling you, this flip industry has opened doors like
I bet.
crazy. And then my clients will call me and be like, hey, I had a water leak. Do you have a restoration company? I'm like, do I have a restoration company? Yes. And this one's cheap. And he like won't mess around with you. He
That's
knows
cool.
me. Say I referred him. My
Yeah.
contractors too, they all say this weird thing. It's kind of good, kind of bad. But they always tell my homeowners like, don't get on Cassie's bad side. And I'm
Uh,
like, dude, but it's kind of a blessing because I'm like, that means that I've set good standards and expectations with you guys, and you
Yeah.
know that like if things aren't done properly, that I'm going to be upset. My contractors also know that I'm very solution orientated, so if they call me with a problem, I will hang up. And I'll
Mhm.
just be like, try again. And I know that's really mean, but it's like I want you to call me with a plan. Okay, I broke the gas pipe. I already have someone coming out. It's going to cost this much.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, great. Let me know where to write the check. And then
Yeah.
we can just hang up. I do not like when contractors call me, and I think it was part of my stress management when they would call me and be like, so it's like flooding everywhere, and okay. And I'd be like,
What's the solution?
I'd also be like, what are you talking about? Like, is it bad?
Yeah.
Like, do I need to show up? Like, what's going on? And now all of a sudden I'm like racing about a million things. And I get there and it's like a couple drops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do we got a towel somewhere? Do you need me to run to Walmart? And so finally I just laid down the law and I was like, it has to be a solution. So before you call me, let's figure it out. And then just let me know what I owe somebody if there's an extra fee involved.
Yeah.
And so now I think we're all on the same page. But luckily for my homeowners too, that's kind of how they felt with my contractors too. Like, okay, I bring in an electrician. He's not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, then you need like this and that. And oh, the whole house is just like burning down.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, here's how it is. Here's your solution. Here's how much it will cost. And my homeowner's like, great. He was efficient, got in there. He was only there for a couple hours, did a great job. I'm like, that's so good to hear. And so again, similar to realtors telling you like they need good connections, I feel like I've been able to build that through the flips. And it has been easy. We've fired people, we've hired new people. But then you get a good crew and you're like, well, I trust you with anybody.
That's awesome.
My parents included. Like, I would send you to my mom's house and have you fix something of hers and be confident that you would do the right thing.
Yeah. That's awesome. And that's not easy to develop in construction. I feel like you have to really work to develop that team. Like you said, you had to fire people and probably a lot of interviews and maybe a few hiccups along the way, but you eventually figure it out. I always like to end a conversation with a question kind of similar to this. If you could give one piece of advice to an 18 or 20-year-old that maybe just thinks they're too much for entrepreneurship, as you would say, what's that one piece of advice you'd give them?
Oh, gosh. There's a lot. The one thing I would say is be so naive and so stupid and just trust life and the instincts that you were born with. I don't think I ever had a life plan. I never knew what was going to happen. I just simply trusted my instincts and what I knew, and I ran with it. So if you're someone who's dreaming of the stars, start building a spaceship. Like, just do it. And you know what? The worst thing that can happen is bankruptcy. You file bankruptcy and you restart. How honestly bad is that? Yeah. It's not. I see life as a very unserious thing. We're all in a simulation. It's just a game. Nothing's that serious. So just freaking do it. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
What if that stupid decision you make is $1 million business and you retire your family and you're Jeff Bezos living on a yacht in Mexico? And what if you file bankruptcy? Okay, you restart and you can now get a regular job. Or that's the best part about life, is there's a jillion opportunities. And whether it works out or not, it's okay. Yeah. And there's always a new place to start. Just do it.
That's great advice.
Thanks.
Well, Kassi, it's been great having you on the podcast. You're incredible to learn from. It's been incredible to learn about you. And yeah, I look forward to continuing to see your success.
Thank you. Should I ask you what your one piece of advice would be?
Ooh, we'll save that for another podcast.
Okay.